YouTube and Instagram. There we go. Thank you all for joining us for a special conversation of Mr. Clark. Everybody on Facebook, everybody on YouTube, everybody on Twitter, and I'm about to log on Instagram right now so we can get everybody live on Instagram. But before we start, I want everybody to introduce themselves. We're gonna start with Goldie because Goldie is one of the youngest females, and I love her whole energy, and she's been a part of this movement since day one. Every time we need her, she comes through. So Goldie, introduce yourself to the people and talk to them, let them know who you are and a little bit about you.
Hi, y'all. Like Devontae said, my name is Goldie. I'm from Sacramento. I'm from Meadowview in particular. I've been doing social work in general for about 5 years behind the scenes, and I'm just a person of the people because I am the people. So when the people hurt, I hurt. That's it.
For that, Goldie. My bad, I'm getting used to working this thing. And so thank you so much for that, Goldie. And next, I'm going to introduce my business partner, Zion. She's been with me a lot of all over throughout the country and whatnot, doing a lot of the hard work. So, Zion, can you please introduce yourself for the people?
Yeah, so my name is Zion Tadessa, and yes, I've been working with Stavante for over 5 years. Since the death of Stefan Clark, we've been out there fighting for the social justice. So in that way, our kids and kids, that type of thing don't happen to our community and our kids and kids. So we're trying to prevent from Stefan happening again in our community. So we've been working so hard with the community, with the city officials, and around the state. So I'm here behind Stavante and AMSAC Foundation.
Yes, and next I'm going to introduce Leia of Impact. She's doing the hard work, not only when it comes to the community violence, and police violence, but also when it comes to the sex trafficking and many other things. She is frontline boots on the ground. So Leia, can you please introduce yourself, please, to the people?
Yes, Leah Shank, founder of Impact. We're crisis response. We're instrumental in getting laws and legislative work changed, boots on the ground, sex trafficking prevention, mass incarceration, reductions, and all around just community involvement, whether it's the school districts or whether in this case it's crime against terrorism, those that terrorize our communities, which is a focal point of this conversation tonight. And we're talking about the police department and what they are being allowed to do.
Yes. Thank you so much for that, Leia. Okay. So now, you guys, we're going to get into our conversation. And I want to thank all my panelists for joining me. I'm grateful. The first thing we're going to jump into is this killer cop on the street, of course. You know, before we get into a mental health expo, before we get into any other event we got planned or going on, we're going to jump right into it. And that's the fact that the same cop who killed Stefan Clark, my unarmed brother, in my grandmother's backyard was just seen on local television working in District 8, working the same community where he assassinated my brother. He's no problem. Nobody's walking up to him, letting him know we don't want him in this neighborhood. No type of community support when it comes to fighting this guy and making sure we get this guy out of our community. There's no reason the same guy who killed my unarmed brother, Stefan Clark, in my grandmother's backyard should be working in the same community where he assassinated Stefan Clark. The community's not safe. You guys know how I feel about that when you got terrorists on the street. You know how I feel about that when you got the police trying to militarize their department and promote killer cops to higher positions and higher levels. Y'all know how I feel. Like I said, you know, we're not anti-law enforcement. We believe in enforcing any type of law that has to go down, but we're anti-killer cop. We're anti-police brutality. We're anti-killer terrorism. We're anti-getting shot at 20 times in your grandmama's backyard. And as many times we got to say it, we're going to say it. Anytime we see Terrence Mercadal, it makes us uncomfortable. Anytime we hear his name, it makes us uncomfortable. If we don't speak out against these terrorists, then goddamn it, who will? If we're not consistently and consecutively using our platform and using our voices to call out those who take that badge and use it against us, especially as a black cop, after we done fought to get you in that position, you take that position to assassinate your own, and then you furthermore, you walk these streets like it's okay, like you good. It's not good. It's not okay. We as a community need to come together and organize and come in solidarity. It's okay for us. I always say it's okay for us to come in solidarity, but when are we going to organize together and make sure these killer cops are not on our streets? Because if we don't organize and get these killer cops off the streets, it's not like the law enforcement is going to hold them accountable. You can't expect SAC PD to hold them accountable when the audit just came out and showed they illegally search homes, cell phones, and vehicles like the terrorists that we expect them to be. So if y'all expecting the same people that illegally search your homes, your vehicles, and your cell phones to hold killer cops accountable, I'm not the crazy one. Something wrong with your ass. Something wrong with your ass. And if somebody said earlier today, they said, "Oh, Stavante, you should just focus on something else. Leave the cops alone. You why are you going against that? Why? What if it, I hope it's not. I hope it's you never in these shoes to ask some stupid ass shit like that, because that's unacceptable. And the reason we keep fighting for justice and accountability is not just for Stephon Clark, but it's to prevent the other Stephon Clarks. Because if we're not going to allow some other brother to go through what I have to go through. We're not trying to put another brother in these shoes. We're not trying to have another brother to bury another brother on top of another brother. There might be a brother out there right now that lost his brother to community violence, and now he's got to be on the back end because you got Terrence Mercadal out there, and he don't know the difference between guns and cell phones.
Yeah.
And the problem is, anytime you do something so bad where a law must be created, you should be held accountable. If you don't know the difference between a gun and a cell phone, you shouldn't have the damn badge. And I want to pass the mic to Leia, because Leia is one of my passionate sisters and advocate warriors on the front line. And I know you feel how I feel, Leia, when it comes to this. And I want you to just speak on that, Leia, and speak on what needs to be done. Also, replying to what I just said.
Yeah. You know, I just feel I'm enraged. I'm enraged by what the city is allowed to happen. I'm enraged by the fact that the police department at this point is taunting us with this man, taunting us. They're putting him everywhere we are. You know, I just had an event right there at that intersection last weekend. We're going to have another one. The Mental Health Expo is going to be also in that area. And I think they're strategically placing him right where we are. And this is the harm that we talk about. So people say, get over it. They say it's been 5 years. You know, we can't bring your loved one back. You know, there's nothing we could do about it. You know, you just angry. You need to move on. It's easy for people to say that when they're not walking in your shoes. It's easy for them to say that, but it's heartless at the same time, because they're not taking into consideration the trauma that you and your family, the whole Clark family, has to endure every single time this man surfaces. When I watched that video, they got this man on the news like he's a celebrity. He's walking, his chest is poked out. It's the cheesy Mo type attitude. He's been promoted to sergeant. When you've been promoted at your job, whether you work at McDonald's, whether you work at a Fortune 500, whether you work for Apple, when you're promoted, that means that you have done something so good, that you've done your job so well, that they want to promote you as a way of saying thank you for the great job that you've done. So this man can shoot and kill an unarmed man in his own backyard, and then be promoted within a 5-year period to work the very streets where he took this man's life. What message does that send? That sends a message to us as the Black community that our life doesn't have any value. It sends a message that they don't give a damn about us, right? And then it sends a message to every other killer cop that's itching to kill one of us, that they can get away with it. That's the message it's sending. So none of this other stuff matters. The statements they put out, people acting like they're in solidarity with the Clark family, none of that matters when it comes down to a moment like this and everybody's silent. Where is everybody? I want to know, where's the outrage? I want to know, why isn't anybody upset about this? Because 5 years ago, everybody was on it. That's all you heard. Stephon Clark, everybody was on it. Everybody wanted to be a part of the movement. But now all of a sudden, it's like out of sight, out of mind. That was 5 years ago. Now all of a sudden, nobody has anything to say. He's still a killer cop, though. He's out on the streets so that he can kill again. That's what he's been given an opportunity to do. He's been promoted so he can kill again. And so none of the social media talk, none of the social media conversations matter when it comes down to a moment like this and nobody has anything to say. Nobody is outraged. When we say we need to go and speak to the city council, because that's what it comes down to at this point. Howard Chan, we got questions. We need answers. We want to know why you're not doing your due diligence to keep our streets safe. We don't feel safe around him, and rightfully so. He killed a man. We're not saying we don't like his attitude. We're not saying he's rude. We don't really like him. Oh, we hate police. We're saying this man killed an unarmed man for no reason. And he's working the same streets where our Black people walk every single day. We're saying that we don't feel safe. Howard Chan, it's his responsibility to keep us safe. My Vang, that's your district. It's your responsibility. We got questions for you too. It's your responsibility. You guys get voted into these positions. You guys want our vote. They always want the Black vote. Always want the Black vote. The moment they get into office, they don't give a damn about Black lives. And that's where we're at right now. Y'all worship the damn Kings game. Y'all worship that arena. Y'all were so excited that the Kings progressed to the next level. Y'all didn't give a damn about the fact that this man was guarding the Kings arena. You didn't care. You didn't show up. You showed up with your Kings gear on to go to the game. You didn't care that there's a killer cop sitting right outside. And ironically enough, the killer cop is standing in the exact location that we protested, where we shut the whole Golden One Center down 5 years ago, in that very same location. It's to me, it's interesting how we have selected outrage. We have selected concern. 1 minute you care, 1 minute Black Lives Matter, the next minute Black lives don't really matter so much anymore. So we get a lot of people saying let things go. We get a lot of people saying we need to stop fighting certain battles. We get a lot of people saying that some lives are not worth fighting for. We get a lot of these comments. I want to know from the community. I want to know where you at. I want to know how come you're not outraged. I want to know where are all these organizations that are getting money to keep us safe. I want to know where you are. And I want to know from the public official standpoint, I want to know what the city council is doing. I want to know what My Vang is doing, specifically My Vang and Howard Chan. Those two specifically, I want to know exactly what they're going to do to keep us safe. And so we have to press. I think we have to do that. But we got to rise up as a community. Because if we don't, this is going to continue to happen. He's on the news. He's on the local news as a sergeant. He's a local celebrity.
Come on now. Come on now. Thank you, Leah. And that's why I wanted to make sure I brought you in on this conversation, because I know just as passionate as I feel about this, I know you feel me on this. I know we don't play selective outrage in this movement. You know, we believe accountability on not just some levels, but all levels. And we believe that if we're silent, we're compliant. We're not just saying if you got 1,300 good cops and 12 bad cops, and if those 1,300 good cops don't say nothing about 12 bad cops, that you got 1,312 bad cops. We're saying that, but that's not always. We're also saying if you got 1,300 bad community members and 12 good communities, and those 1,300 good community members or bad community members don't stand in solidarity with those 12 good community members, then you got 1,312 bad community members, because our silence is compliance when it comes to this fight. We have to stand together as the community, because otherwise it seems like we're okay with letting the killer cops work at these games. It's okay we let the killer cops work in District 8. It's okay we let the city manager get away with not firing, charging, or convicting the murderers of Stephon Alonzo Clark, our dear brother, a prophet, a martyr, inshallah. So thank you, brother. He said he outside of Philly and he stands with us. We love you, brother. We love Philly, standing in solidarity. And now I want to turn over to Goldie. Goldie, I want to let you say a few words before I bring in my business partner, Zion. Goldie, let us know your thoughts, how you feeling, Goldie, and then actionable items moving forward when it comes to what needs to be done when it comes to terrorist police work in our streets. Goldie, it's on you. Let me make sure we got you. All right, there you go, Goldie. It's on you.
Okay, hey, so my thoughts, I want to actually start with the actionable item. One of the first actionable items that come to mind for me is accountability. And if we can find a way to systemize accountability, if we can have this step, this step, this step, maybe make it something simple like a 4-step process that it's public accountability in the same way that, in finance, there's this thing called smart contracts where you can basically follow the change of hands of money in a way that cannot be erased, right? It can't be altered. It can't be affected. Nobody can go in and doctor this up or go in and doctor that up. And if we had something like that when it comes to anything that's regulatory of people en masse, I feel like for the people, that'll be better for us because then we don't have to rely on anyone's word or we don't have to rely on any one individual's integrity when it comes to upholding policy or creating new policy that should exist. Because at the end of the day, there's always going to be a discrepancy there because people truly serve their interests. One, money is bipartisan. Two, and people are always going to go wherever sponsorship leads them. So I want to list that off the top of my head as one of the first actionable items. Then I'm going to kind of go off of some notes here that I took when she was just speaking earlier because my mind moves real fast, so I'll forget things. So something that I wrote down when she was speaking that I resonated with what she was saying was I'm anti-establishment. And I'm anti-establishment because I'm anti-oppression, because I'm anti-turning a blind eye to innocent people's pain, right? And that's something that has been happening with your family in particular for almost a decade, for half a decade. And that's ridiculous. And it just so it's ridiculous also because you've done work in your brother's name and your mom has done work in your brother's name to gather so much attention to the situation. And there's the expectation that where recognition goes, initiative follows. But aside from the Clark Foundation, there's been no initiative. And from the governmental bodies, there's definitely been no initiative. So hold on, let me go back to one of the things that I have wrote down because, like I said, my mind moves fast, so I'll start forgetting what I'm talking about. Okay, yeah, so it's like when a blind eye is being turned to the pain of a situation of tragedy, like the assassination of Stephon Clark, that's not just Stephon Clark. Because how many other people are experiencing the pain of losing their loved one, losing their family members, losing their son, losing their brother, losing their father, losing whoever that person is to them, and they don't have the wherewithal to get that much attention. If you've been able to get this much attention and nothing has actually happened, then they don't stand a chance. And if they don't stand a chance and what happened because of a system of oppression, not just an isolated event, it's a system of oppression. That's why he still is employed now, let alone why he's still free now. So if no action is taken and no justice is had by way of any of those individual situations, then it's happening all across the board. It's happening more than we can count. It's happening more than we can document. It's happening more often than we can rally behind. But even with us rallying behind it, nobody else takes that extra step to make sure that something actually happens. And when I say nobody else, it's more so the people in power. The people in power have the idea of, excuse my French, but the people in power have the idea of let them niggas cry. Let them niggas cry. They'll stop crying eventually. The world will stop listening eventually, and we'll move on, and we'll all just move on. Here we are 5 years later. Nobody's moved on. We still want justice for Stephon Clark. We still want justice. Let me go to another thing that I have wrote down, right? Because that reminds me of like we're talking about how he's working District 8 again, right? It's been seen in the Valley High macro area. That's not far from Meadowview. How are you working the same area where you've already failed to uphold your vow to uphold public safety? How does that happen? That's insane. How does that happen? A regular person can never do that. So I feel like it's a disgusting display of prejudice. It's a disgusting display of abusive power and a number of other things. That something that a regular person could never get away with, that's against the law, and it's morally corrupt, a person who swears a vow, a person who takes an oath to never do something like that can do it and then get celebrated for it, can do it and become a celebrity for it, can do it and walk around feeling like he's Superman on account of it. I think that's crazy. And it, more than just nobody in District 8 can feel safe with his presence there, nobody in Sacramento can feel safe with his presence there. Nobody in Sacramento can feel safe with the new title he's gotten within the police task force, because now there are other police underneath him, and we know what mindset he promotes. We know what actions he encourages. Something has to happen, or it's not going to be an isolated event. It's going to be somebody else's brother. It's going to be somebody else who's a mother having to watch her son bury her other son, while that son's children bear witness. Why doesn't anyone care about that?
Thank you, Goldie. I appreciate you for that. Thank you so much, Goldie, for those words. Thank you, Goldie. That was much needed. And the next person I'm going to bring up on our panel is my business partner. You guys probably seen her with me plenty and many a times. She has been over the country with me fighting this fight when it comes to justice and accountability. So we always make sure we keep good people around us. And I want to bring her on here because she's seen me in this fight. She's seen me in this movement. She's been following me in this fight and my family in this movement. And I wanted her to bring her on here because as an outsider, somebody who's been with me, it's good to hear from those people that could see kind of like what we've been doing, the work we've been doing to try to get killer cops not to be in our areas, not even be on the force, but it's good to hear that opinion that's right by me. So I want to bring Zia in because I believe, you guys know what I believe, the most largest and most funded gang in America are the police, period. I've stood by that. I believe if you want to get away with murder in America, don't go join the Bloods. Don't go join the Crips. Don't do that. You'd be crazy as hell to do that. That'd be the worst thing your ass could do. You go down there to downtown and tell Kathy Lester and them you want to apply for Sacramento Police Department. You tell them you want to apply for the police department, and I guarantee you can kill whoever the hell you want. That's the message that is being sent. Go your ass over down to Kathy Lester. Tell them Stavante Clark sent you. Tell them Mr. Clark is your referral. And then you apply. You go get the training. The training ain't that long anyway. The training ain't that. I mean, they won't even teach you the difference between a gun and a cell phone. So just take your ass there. You make sure you get the inadequate training that they give there. You can bring your unculturally, incompetent ass to our communities, and you go ahead and murder, and you get a promotion right after you're done murdering one of us. You get a raise, you get a promotion, you get to be big and tough, you get to be all over the local news. So go ahead and work for Sacramento Police Department, because that is the message that Kathy Lester is sending. That is the message the city of Sacramento is sending, and we are not doing nothing about it. So what is the message that the community is sending? Huh? What the hell message we sending? Now, Zia, I'm going to bring it to you.
Yeah.
Got a hell of an intro. But
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So for me, like you said, I've been in a business for over 18 years in the Sacramento community, and I've also been working with you behind you when it comes to AMSAC Foundation to prevent for something stuff and happening ever again in our community. So, but what I see is really a huge disconnect, the disconnect between the city officials or the government that's supposed to protect our kids and our grandkids. They don't even understand who they're serving. So the same thing with the police. I mean, I've been supporting as a business person ever since I opened my business. I've been supporting police, putting every year, paying the money because I know they will protect us. And we're not, against, like you said, the police or the law enforcement. But like every one of us be accountable when I sign up to open a restaurant, I'm accountable if I get somebody sick in my restaurant, regardless. So when we have, in every department, when we don't make the police accountable and then put the people who killed our community right on our face, for me, we should make the city officials who signed up to protect our community regardless. They failed us. That's how I believe, because if they really care, they will go down to our community and figure out what is going on. And then instead of putting the police who killed Stefan, and instead they should help us create resource centers, healing spaces like we've been begging for the past 5 years. We have actionable items to prevent all that happening, bridging the gap between the police and our community that they serve, because they're not really serving our community. They just, killing our community in a way, but by assumption. So I think until we bridge that gap between the city officials and the community they serve, and sometimes our community, I don't understand these people, they get paid.
You know what?
Actually,
you know what,
to,
Zion, can I say, and Leia, correct me if I'm wrong, Leia. I used to think it was a way to bridge the gap with these folks. I used to be the optimistic one to say, you know what, maybe we can bridge the gap. Maybe if we had the dialogue. But Leia, it comes to find out that I don't really think these people want to have the dialogue, at least the open dialogue. I don't think these people care about us saying we anti-police terrorists, we anti-police militarism. Otherwise, they wouldn't have damn Bearcats and all types of tanks and Hellcats driving through our communities, and robots. In LA got robotic dogs now, and in Atlanta they got Cop City, and you got Stefan Clark killer working around the corner from where they killed him. And I don't believe they want to have the dialogue, because if they wanted to have the dialogue, Leia, they would have stopped doing the silly shit they doing now and been doing for the last since police has been created in America, honestly. So, Leia, can you follow up on that? Is there a way that we can actually bridge? Are we? I don't want to. Everybody love everybody. I don't want to say that these people are not open to that conversation. But Leia, am I wrong for feeling like these people are not open to having that conversation when it comes to bridging any type of gap, or even value and respect in Black lives, because their actions have not shown that? Their actions have not shown that.
Well, and that's exactly right. It's the action. So we've tried. It's not like we haven't come to the table and tried to have these conversations. We've tried. And it's not for us to have a partnership with the police, but it's to have an understanding when it comes to our community versus them coming into our community. Like you mentioned, they're not culturally competent at all.
Come on now.
They don't know how to talk to us. They don't know how to interact with us. Everything we do is seen as a threat to them. Yes. So we've tried. It's not like we haven't tried. Mm-hmm. It's what are they willing to do? Because they're coming. This is the thing. You're coming in our community.
Yeah.
These are our people. These are our streets. These are our neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. You're coming into our point of contact
and pay with our dollars too.
And you're getting paid, yeah. And so so you're coming into our communities to terrorize us, but you don't feel like we have a say so. So we're relinquishing our power, and we have to stop that. We have to take back, and I've said this time and time again, take back our communities, take back our streets. We have to take back our power. We have to take control. We have to pull the reins. And so we have to hold them accountable. If they're not willing to have that dialogue and they're not willing to have that gap bridged, then we move on to the next step. Yeah. We said, no justice, no peace. Come on now. That's what we said. No justice, no peace.
Especially when they have that immunity. I mean, only God should have that immunity, honestly. No human being should have immunity to kill somebody, not be acceptable. I don't think that type of law exists in the United States. But that's why they hide under that immunity. So the law protects them. So through that policy, again, we can change all those things, but our people need to unite together and say, no, we got to change that policy, that immunity, because like you're practically saying, you can kill somebody, you still not be accountable. So those are the type of policy we have to really educate our people so we can change through the policy. They changing us through their own policy. So we have to unchain ourselves through their own policy by putting that paper and fighting. We have our own Black people in the Capitol, in the city. We got to get them to fight for this type of policy so our community is not being, killed, regardless. No accountability. Like it's just unheard of. So I think as people, as Black people as well, we need to unite and go to the city council every Tuesday. We can say, no, you need to change this, you need to change that. We can get policy writer to write all the policies they've been using for generation. We can undo all that. So unless we do like solutionable, actionable item that we're talking about, this law is going to protect them. They're still going to do whatever and still get away with it.
And I think what Zion is talking about is qualified immunity.
Yeah.
And that law is what keeps these officers from being held directly accountable. I am grateful for everybody that's tuned in and logged in. I want you all to know that although this is a continued fight for Stephon Clark, this is a continued fight for Fred Cox as well. My mother, Mama Clark, was just out there in North Carolina to honor the life and legacy of Fred Cox. Our family, our hearts go to the family of Fred Cox. May his name live in a positive light for generations long after you and I left this earth, decree, declare, pronounce, and announce. When we talk about this, it hurts me to always have to come back to these conversations because it's like everywhere I go, it's Terrence Mercadal. Everywhere I go, it's Sacramento PD messing up. Whether it's the way that they're illegally searching people, whether they're beating up some people, for unnecessary reasons, whether it's them, harassing and being the terrorists that we know them to be. It's always something of Sac PD fucking up, messing up. And I'm sick of it, You know where I can go. They hire the cop at the Kings game. It's just every month it's something else with Sacramento Police Department. Every month they want to have conversations on how we feel about the police being the goddamn military and having a hell of money to get bean bags and tanks and so on and so forth. Pointless meetings. The money that they could be spending on resources is the same money they're using to fund Terrence Mercadal, his promotion, his raise he just got. And if you think that he got a raise from just being a great officer and for patrolling and protecting and serving, you are mistaken. You are gravely mistaken. The reason that man got a promotion and got a raise is because he murdered unarmed Stephon Clark in my grandmother's backyard. They seen that he was one of theirs. They seen he was willing to do what he had to do for what? Because he got married damn near right after he assassinated my brother. It's not like he was like, oh my gosh, I killed some unarmed man. No, he got married shortly after he assassinated my brother. The fact that we shut down Kings Arena, but while we were shut down Kings Arena's backdoor deals were being made inside the Kings Arena. While y'all call yourself sitting there in front lines, standing 10 toes down, deals were being made behind your back to make you become more desensitized from the fact that my unarmed brothers' killers were never fired, charged, and convicted. Organizations were created off the death of my unarmed brother. People got fat literally off the blood of Stephon Clark. They talk about me being crazy, me doing this, me doing that. There was people taking the money off Stephon before Stephon was even put in the ground. Before he was even buried, they were collecting dollars off my unarmed dead brother. getting their pockets fat off the blood, the blood off my brother. They congratulated Danny Boy's ass like he was Barack Obama. They love Danny Boy. I get it. I get it. I actually I don't get it. I really don't get it. But the fact that we have to sit here and play like none of this ever happened is insane to me. No, I'm gonna talk about it because all of it happened. It was a black chief who did not do anything and was silent when it comes to the murder of 22-year-old unarmed Stephon Alonzo Clark. It was a black chief. That's why I say all skin folk ain't kinfolk. That's why I always say you may be my color, but you're not my kind. It was the black cop that killed Stephon Clark. And my only problem is that we as the community has failed to take the actionable items you heard from Leia, failed to listen to the actionable items you heard from Goldie, failed to take from the actionable items you heard from Zion, failed. And before I end this live, I'm going to let us all one by one get the last word. I'm going to start with Goldie because Goldie, you've been quiet there, but I know Goldie got a lot going on her head. She probably wrote a lot down. So I'm going to go final thoughts for Goldie because I love Goldie's opinion. I love hearing her speak. So Goldie, it's on you. Let me mute mine and put you on there.
Okay, so my final thoughts are this, right? One of the calling cries from the Clark Foundation is no justice, no peace. How can the Clark family, 5 years later, or any family like theirs, reach peace when they haven't gotten their justice? On a larger scale, how can anyone in District 8, anyone in Sacramento, anyone in California, anyone in America, all black people, all oppressed people, because Stephon wasn't targeted because of his individuality. He wasn't assassinated because of what he was saying or what he was doing, that they were too afraid of gaining traction. He was targeted because of his demographic, and he's not the only member of it. So I find that it's easy to think because the years have passed, the problem is over. But if there is never any true solution, how is it over? And also, I want to add to something that Zion was saying, about one of the things that we can do to try to better our communities and empower ourselves when she says take back our community and for us to come together. If we can all find a way, even if we don't know the answers, even if we don't know the route right now, if we can just sit down and start having the discussions and start putting some things into action and do it like a social experiment, see if it works. What works, stick with it. What doesn't, change and try until we find something that works. But we need education that's self-driven, directed by us, and economy that's self-driven, directed by us. Like Leia said, of taking back our neighborhoods. We need education and we need economy and we need to be responsible for it. Right? Then I also want to say, this. When a little white girl from Greenhaven dog go missing, from Natomas or from Deep Elk Grove or wherever, if a member of that demographic, the demographic that they care about, something as small scale as her dog go missing or she lose a toy or anything happen, right? They hustle to find it immediately. They hustle to make that change. They hustle to give that family or those people what it is that they're looking for. When an innocent member of an oppressed demographic is ruthlessly murdered in his family's home, there's no response. There's radio silence. There's a more adamant response to traffic infractions in this city than there is to literal cold-blooded murder, and that's insane to me. But they want us to stop talking.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying. Oh. Thank you, Goldie. I appreciate you, sister. And Goldie, that's why I love Goldie. You hear me, y'all? Goldie, that's why come on, Goldie. Goldie is a lifetime honorary member of this movement, and that is exactly why. Because when she don't just speak, Goldie thinks before she speaks. She knows what she wants to say. She knows how to articulate. Say, and look, she's very smart. She'll have you in Stefan's house breaking down a 6-hour lecture for you, okay? But one thing she could do, what I love about her, is she could take something and break it down like a 6-year-old. She could help us understand, you know what I mean? Because it's so much going on, and we need to understand sometimes. Sometimes I always say information without understanding is useless. So I like to thank Goldie for always taking that information and helping us understand it. Because if we couldn't, we wouldn't be able to use it. And the next person I want to bring up, I want to save you, Leia, for last. You know, I got to bring you on last, Leia. You know what I mean? We got to save Sister Leia for like Sister Leia. You know that's my partner right there. But Zion is my business partner. She is passion, and we love ZZ. So Z, before you take us home, I want you to talk about a little bit about what you got also in September. I know you got something coming up in September. So I want you to announce that as well as you finish up talking about this killer cop we got on the street. But also talk about your event for a little bit in September, and then I'm going to pass it down to Leia.
Yeah, like you were saying, we have so much stuff going on while we're dealing with this type of stuff, like the city throwing at us. We do a lot of event because we have a IamSacEvent.org company, so we do a lot of through activism. We try to support the small businesses, entrepreneurs, bring them together so we can actually support each other, put the money into our community. So we have Broadway International Festival coming September 9, where we're bringing everybody, the whole Sacramento community together. So, and also we have next week, we have the mental health awareness, minority mental health awareness. We have to do that too. So everybody's welcome to come and join us. We need our community to join. We need the Sacramento community because our health and wellness is very important, as well as what we're doing when it comes to the community outreach. We shouldn't wait until our loved one get killed or something happens to them to call us. Be part of our movement. It's not just me or Stavante or Leia or Goldie. It's all about our community health, our community safety. So when I see somebody like him on the street, let alone Stavante, even me, I get sick looking at him and knowing that he killed somebody. He's still out there. My daughter is out there. Our kids out there too. So they're not safe. So our safety is compromised. And I feel the city failed us. The city officials, we have to make them accountable. That's their job, to protect us, to protect our kids and grandkids. So we have to unite together, make the city, from the city manager to the city council members to the state, all the way, all of them need to be accountable if they're getting paid to protect us. So well, come and join us anytime. We're here working hard for everybody. Me and Stavante out there making noise here in all over the United States, but we need people to be part of us. We need to be part of the movement, not the moment. So please join us. We need people to make the city office accountable. So that's all I can say. And thank you, Stavante, for having me.
All right, thank you, Zion. Now, Leia, we on you now, sister, to take us home. You know, there's a lot of work we're doing every day, whether it's sex trafficking, whether it's community violence, whether it's police violence. But right now, and it seems like for a while now, we've been running into Terrence Mercadal. You know what I mean? He's been popping up. The guy's on TV. Obviously, he's been promoted, Leia. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. You know what I mean? I'm only one person, so, moving on forward when it comes to this, I think I do want to organize a rally around that area. But what other steps, like, I know you already named some other steps that we could be doing, but right now, what steps can we take on our side to try to get people together when it comes to getting this killer cop on the street? And what are your final thoughts about everything?
So I want to reiterate something that we said kind of at the beginning, but I just want to hone in on that a little bit more. when we fight for Stephon Clark, we fight for all of our families and all of our community members. This is not an isolated incident. We got to remind folks that in 2018, we had many police killings. We had Daryl Richards, Brandon Smith, Marshall Miles. Then a couple years later, we had Augustine Morales. These are all killed at the hand of the police. And we can go on and on and on. We got a whole long list. It wasn't just Stephon Clark. So when we stand for Stephon, we are standing for all these lives that are lost. So let's just make that clear. And we're also standing for the lives that have not been lost yet. So we're fighting for your children, for your husband, for your father, for your brother, for your mother. We are standing in the gaps for everybody. We're talking about community. That's what we're talking about. When we say community, that's what we mean. Community. So look, you may not like our approach. I say get one. Just have an approach. I want to know what your approach is. I briefly saw one of the comments about black on black crime. And look, when it comes to black on black crime, which I don't even like that term, but when it comes to that, you can't say that we don't stand for black on black crime. You better look me up. You better really just do your due diligence to see who I really fight for, because this is everybody. Life is a life. We're not just talking about police violence. We're talking about violence, period. And we stand against all of it, period. And there are many more families that we stand for that have been killed by people that look like us than we do for the police. That's just the topic of conversation today, because this man has surfaced yet again on TV, and it's a circulating article. It's on YouTube. It's on TV. So let's make that clear right now. I'm tired of hearing people say that when the police kill people, y'all got so much to say, but when we out here killing each other, y'all don't have nothing to say. That's a lie. That's not true. We have a lot to say about that. But I also have something to say about the fact that we have to love each other. Against about any of it, I want to know what's your approach. Because bring that to the table. We don't know everything. We're only just 1, 2, 3, 4 individuals sitting here having a conversation. We don't know everything. There are things that you may bring to the table that might be useful for us to be able to use in order to keep our communities safe. All of our communities. Again, whether it's police violence or whether it's community violence. We stand for both of those things. We are community organizers. We've had many instances where we have stood against community violence. We just had unity in the community panel just last week. So do your research. Do your research before you make comments like that, because that's not true. We don't like none of it. All of it needs to stop. But God damn it, the police are getting paid to kill us.
Come on.
It's two different things. To say black on black, that all that is about is proximity. I don't like that, because you never say white on white crime. Y'all never say Asian on Asian. The Sikhs was down there killing each other. Y'all didn't say Sikh on Sikh crime when they was down there killing each other at the Sikh temple. Y'all didn't say that. Y'all don't say that. When the Monterey shooting happened and the Asian was down there killing Asians, I didn't hear y'all say Asian on Asian crime. So that's all about proximity. And it really is just a reason to just pivot and bring us to a whole nother topic. That ain't what we're talking about right now. We can come back tomorrow. If y'all want to talk about black on black crime, we can do that. But I don't think none of y'all are ready for that conversation. If you're not ready for this conversation, you damn sure ain't ready for that one, because this is easy. The police, I mean, y'all know the story. How many times we got to say it? He was in his grandmother's backyard. This is what he did when he came home at night, which y'all may not know, is his grandfather has the clicker to the garage, and he would press the button and open the garage to let Stephon come in. He was knocking on his grandfather's window to say, let me in. He's in his own backyard. Y'all go into your own backyard every day. He should not have been killed. He was an unarmed black man that was killed in his grandmother's backyard. That's it. Y'all can try to formulate your own narrative all you want to. That's what happened. That's the fact. That's what happened. And y'all understood that 5 years ago. But now all of a sudden you want to, but what about this? And what about that? What about it? And furthermore, this is a black cop. Do y'all not consider that black on black crime? Since that's all you want to discuss at this very moment? Is that not considered black on? Does that not qualify? So we got to stop changing the conversation. We got to stop pivoting. We got to stop always doing the what about isms. We got to stop trying to make things, this. No, it's very simple. Stop killing us. That's our demand. Stop killing us. I got a black son. I want my son to be safe. My husband, my father, my brother, all of our family members, we want them to be safe. Why is that a hard ask? Why is there a but to that? I say stop killing us, and you say but. I say Stefan should still be here, but y'all killing each other. I say police shouldn't kill us. Yeah, but y'all killing each other. It's no but. It's no but. I say that the people in position, they have responsibility. I want answers. I want to know what the hell they're going to do to keep us safe. We have the right to ask that. They work for us. We pay our tax dollars. They wouldn't have no job if it wasn't for us.
Come on now. I love you, Leah. Thank you, Leah. I thank you, Leah. No, God damn it. Hold on. I know. Look, hold on. Goldie, I know you want to say something about the black on black too, real quick. So let me mute my thing. Goldie, I'm gonna let you say something before I get started.
Me now? Okay, I'll cut it way short because Leah killed it. I'm glad that you saw that comment because I saw that hating ass comment. I want you to know that we saw that hating ass comment. I cut it short because, like I said, she killed it. But what I want to say is that the black on black crime stance is empty rhetoric that we don't entertain, and it was hella unnecessary of you to derail this relevant topic. So maybe you don't know it, but we also advocate always for healthy black connections within our community. I just was at a rally at the Capitol like less than a week ago, advocating for anti-gun violence within the community. So if you don't know it and you can't see it, that's your fault. And most black people aren't government officials, aren't public servants. The discussion we're having right now is about systemic abuse of power against oppressed peoples, not what civilians do to other civilians. I also want to say that you're on bullshit and you're a hater and you need to love yourself and pull your head out your ass.
I love her.
Let the people say. Let the people say. We the people.
Well, we love our sister. Look, hey, Goldie, we love you. We love you, Goldie. The foundation does not confirm nor deny if we support. No, we love Goldie. No, we love Goldie. Goldie held us down. But before we go off this live, I want to thank all my panelists real quick. I want to thank Goldie. I want to thank Zion. I want to thank Leah. All three of y'all for joining me today for this conversation. I couldn't do this conversation without you guys because Lord knows I'm tired. I'm depleted. With this mental health expo coming up, this cop ruined my whole day again. So now my energy is just off. I'm not feeling like myself right now. I'm just pissed off that he's just comfortably out here working our streets, just comfortably out here, not a care in the world. You could tell he's been promoted, and these are to the elected officials, because I know a lot of elected officials watch my lives and conversations. They go back and save the stories. They don't like them or nothing, but they make sure they watch them. They don't like, share, or comment, but they'll watch the hell out of our lives. And it's there, all the elected officials watching. If you really say you stand in solidarity with the Clark family, what you must do is do what's right by the Clark family. And most importantly, days of proclamation are good. Stefan Clark laws, schools, the houses, yeah, that's all good and all. But the way you truly honor my brother Stefan Clark is by firing, charging, and convicting killer cops. You cannot honor Stefan without truly honoring Stefan by doing the work. It's just like George Floyd. You cannot assassinate George Floyd and then not pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. That means you didn't honor him at all because you continue to let George Floyd's happen over and over and over again. So when we talk about the life and legacy of not just Stefan Clark, we talk about Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Stephen Taylor, Miles Hall. We talk about all those who lost in this movement. And one of the main things we must do in this fight for justice and accountability is not forget how far we came, not forget where we at now, and keep fighting, but keep together them actionable items. Keep those. We got to keep actionable items going, you guys, and that's what the conversation I want to have is with the actionable items, because I'm tired of talking. I'm tired of panel discussions. I'm tired of press conferences. I'm tired of marching and protesting. It's time for us to get some actionable items done. And if we're not going to count on the police to do their job, damn it, like I said, we just start our own de-escalation tactical team. If y'all want to do that, then come on down to I Am SAC Foundation. We would love to have you. But if you don't want to start in policing your own communities, I'm gonna tell you, So I want to thank my panelists one more time, Leah, Goldie, and Zion. The love is unconditional. Everybody love everybody. We have a SAC 6 program, Bridge the Gap, inform and educate, provide resources and healing spaces, commemorate the life and legacy, receive recommendations, and spread the gospel of love. Everybody love everybody. That's our story, and we're sticking to it.